I'm a vet, not some fantasy novel heroine, yet here I am, apparently the owner of 3 beastmen slaves. One was tied up with a necktie, my bare foot pressed against his ripped chest. Seriously, what the actual fuck? The other 2 were unconscious, probably from abuse, lying nearby. Panic shot through me like a jolt of electricity. These weren't just any beastmen, they were the future villains of this story. They were gonna make my life a living hell. According to the storyline, they'd get their revenge on the original owner for all the pain she inflicted on them, torture, imprisonment, and then they'd finally kill her. The tied-up beastman struggled and his eyes flickered open, disgust etched on his face. He spat at me to get the hell away from him, but damn, things changed fast. Later, those same beastmen begged me to keep them in my life. They were eager to wear collars and kneeling at my bedside. Mistress, please stay with us tonight. Get the fuck off me. I jolted awake, adrenaline pumping through my veins. A dark-skinned hottie was struggling against his restraints, sweat glistening on his chiseled body. He had this intense stare, deep-set eyes framed by a pair of black wolf ears twitching on top of his head, and I was standing on his chest, barefoot, a friggin' dagger clutched in my hand, practically poking his eyeball. What in the ever-loving hell was going on? Before I could even process it, the guy snapped the necktie and transformed into a massive black wolf. One of his eyes was bleeding, but he still snarled, hackles raised, ready to tear me apart. I dropped the dagger like it was a hot potato and scanned the room. The air was thick with the metallic tang of blood. 2 other beastmen, a snake and a cockatiel, were sprawled nearby, out cold, looking like they were nearly dead. Shit, this was real. I'd transmigrated. This was some beastman harem romance novel. I was supposed to be a vet in real life, but the book made me the villain, the jealous, cruel sister of the main character. I was jealous of my sister's perfect love story and her hot beastman companions. I became the ultimate foil to her romance and got my comeuppance every time, so I took my anger out on my own beastman slaves. I gouged out the wolf's eye, ripped scales off the snake, and burned the cockatiel's wings. The slaves finally escaped, plotting revenge for years, and in the end, they dragged the original owner to an abandoned warehouse, let a bunch of thugs have their way with her for 3 days straight, then toss her into the ocean to drown. They even said that before she died, she was holding on to a moldy piece of bread. My vet instincts kicked in. I took a step forward to check on the wolf's eye. He recoiled. What are you doing? He swiped at me with his claws, but I grabbed his paw, pinning it down. I wiped the blood from his eye. Just want to take a look. Relax. I tilted his chin up. He kept fighting me, twisting his head. Finally, I snapped. Hold still, or do you want to lose the other one too? He went still, his breath coming in ragged gasps. I could see the fear in his eyes. Ignoring his fear, I examined his eye. I peered closer, and I saw the raw bone. Shit, he needed surgery, and fast. I grabbed my phone, fumbling to dial emergency services. Hi, I have an injured beastman here. Can you send an ambulance? The operator laughed in my ear. Lady, are you serious? Who treats beastmen? I rubbed my temples, remembering where I was. In this world, beastmen were low-class citizens, slaves. Humans had all the power most people would just buy another slave instead of wasting money on treatment. The wolf had been watching my every move. When the call disconnected, he snorted, a sound of bitter amusement. I ignored him, turning to the other 2, a snake and a bird. I knelt down to assess the damage. The snake, a pale Brooks king snake, had nearly half his belly scales ripped off, blood staining his pristine body. The cockatiel's feathers were torn, singed, the stench of burnt flesh filling the air. My stomach churned. This was beyond fucked up. The wolf growled, his voice sharp. What do you want to do with them? I shot him a look, then rummaged for the first aid kit, dousing the snake and bird's wounds with antiseptic, bandaging them gently. The wolf watched me the whole time. When he realized I was treating them, he paused and slowly settled to the floor. Finally, I grabbed a cotton swab and went to him. Your turn. In the novel, the wolf's eye never got treated. He developed a fever, went blind in that eye, and ended up wearing an eye patch all the time, looking even more ruthless, and in the end, before throwing the original owner into the sea, he'd gouged her eyes out too. The wolf tensed, suspicion written all over his face. Jiang Mian, what's your game? I didn't answer. If you want to keep your eye, you'll do what I say. The wolf lay on the couch, his paws twitching nervously. I pressed them down. Relax. I met his amber eyes. Before I landed in this story, I was an exotics vet. I mostly treated animals like rabbits, turtles, and snakes. This was my first wolf. Whatever, dogs are the same anyway. The wolf's cornea was pierced, leaking fluid. I needed to clean and suture it. The environment was rough. I sterilized my tools in boiling water and got to work. The wolf whimpered, hurts. Sorry, no painkillers, but we have to do this now. His eyelashes fluttered, his damp fur rising and falling with each breath. Doesn't hurt. I feel nothing. I didn't say anything, just made my movements lighter. Decades of doing surgeries. My hands were steady and fast. In about 20 minutes, I finished bandaging the wolf's eye. I'll go get some painkillers and antibiotics. When I returned, the wolf was fast asleep on the couch, probably exhausted from the surgery. I grabbed the antibiotics, poured a glass of water, ready to wake him. Before I could even take a step, something cold snaked around my neck, tightening. The glass shattered on the floor. What are you giving him? The voice was low, smooth as silk. I twisted around to see a pair of pale red eyes. The snake. He was awake. The snake had me pinned, cutting off my air, but my hands were quick, searching. Finally, I pinched the snake right behind his head. He went limp, dropping to the ground. I gasped for air, grabbing his body, waving it around, all messed up. And you still want to strangle me? I poked at the blood-stained bandage on his belly. I spent a long time wrapping that. Don't get any funny ideas. The snake reared back. Those red eyes stared at me. You bandaged me. I nodded. Yep. Since you're awake, take these pills. I put the box near him to show I wasn't hostile. Antibiotics for the infection. I popped 3 pills out and set them on the table. Then I aired out the room, cleaning the floor, scrubbing away the sticky blood. I checked on the beastmen, making sure they hadn't moved or ripped their wounds open. The snake was watching me the whole time. In the evening, the setting sun cast a golden light into the room. I set the bowls of rice porridge on the table and caught the snake's gaze. I asked, want to eat? I made extra. Beastmen only turned into animals when they were injured or weak. Otherwise, they stayed in human form and ate human food. The original owner never wasted money on them, feeding them cheap nutrient paste. The snake slithered onto the chair. He stared at the food, then at me. Then a voice dripped with sarcasm echoed from the couch. Made by you. We don't have that many lives to waste. A beautiful beautiful blonde-haired teenager appeared. His arm was bandaged, he was shirtless, showing off his ripped torso, stalking toward me, sneering. Jiang Mian, what is this, some new game? You think this will impress us? His dark eyes bored into me, filled with pure hatred. Then he grabbed the bowl of porridge, dumping it all over me. Eat, I want to puke just looking at you. The porridge soaked my apron. The cockatiel stood before me, sneering. You burned my wings, and now you're acting like you care. Who are you trying to fool? Seriously, how are you going to torture us next? The wolf and the snake were silent, staring. The room was silent, broken only by the dripping porridge. Finally, I unclenched my fist and raised my arm. The cockatiel saw my hand in the corner of his vision. His eyes widened, and he began to tremble, but he still sneered. Hit me. To be honest, it was way better when you were a bitch. But he waited and waited. I just untied my apron and dropped the porridge-soaked fabric on the floor. The cockatiel gaped at me. I spoke. Phoenix, if you don't want to eat, don't. But you dumped my dinner. What am I supposed to eat? Endure. Cleaning up the floor later. Then I turned and went to my room, grabbed the doorknob. I paused, my back to the three beastmen. I whispered, I'm not faking it. I won't hurt you again. Once you're healed, I'll take you to the Beastmen Bureau and release you from your contracts. I just got to my room when my phone buzzed. I looked to see a credit card debt notice. The original owner was a rich girl, but she was banished when she kept trying to hurt her sister. She just finished college, no job. She wasted all her money. I needed to make money, and fast. The next morning, I checked on the Beastmen. Maybe my words had some effect. They were still there, not running away like in the book. Whatever, since they didn't run, I guess I'll take care of them. Over the next month, I learned more about this world. There were normal animals and beastmen, but beastmen were considered mixed breed trash, born low, and sold as slaves. Some people bought beastmen as pets, but most people keep cats and dogs as pets, so I decided to take on my real job again, a vet. First, I got my vet license, then got a job at the clinic next to my apartment. During this time, I didn't talk to the beastmen much. I didn't hurt them like the original owner, but I didn't try to kiss their asses. I just made extra food for dinner and changed their bandages. The wolf and the snake were distant, and they would nod when they saw me. Only the cockatiel would stare at me when I saw him. One day, I finished all my surgeries and came home tired. I fell on the couch. I felt a cold touch on my leg. I jumped to see it was the snake. The 2-meter white